Welcome back to the news. Minister Vimal Weerawansa charges that a group of public officials are working to destabilize the economy. Speaking at the 56th annual conference of the Audit Services Union, Weerawansa expressed these views.
A cess was imposed on coconuts. The cabinet paper was tabled in cabinet. The minister decided that a final decision should be taken after discussions with coconut producers. The cabinet made this decision on Thursday morning. In the evening, the secretary to the Ministry of Finance had imposed the cess. Where is the need for a cabinet? A mafia of officials who are economic assassins are sucking this country dry. To strategically bring down the economy, he has said that the IMF will not give funds. I say that Jayasundara is a puppet of the IMF. If he creates a crisis saying that the loan cannot be secured, makes the problem grow and then secures the loan at the last minute, he will score more points. The cabinet decided to recruit 40,000 graduates. The finance secretary has instructed the district secretaries and recruited 100,000. We had only identified positions in public service for 40,000. 60,000 more have now been taken and they are sitting around taking 10,000 a month and will soon fall victim to monotony. When that happens at the next presidential election, 60,000 who received allowances from the government will march in procession against the government.
Senior Minister
D.W. Gunasekara also participated at this event. When you take the 6 main institutions in the country, port, cargo, electricity, petroleum, People's Bank, Bank of Ceylon and Sri Lankan Airlines, the income taxes are paid from the institution's revenue and not from the officials' incomes. What does this amount to? In 2010, it was 2,000 million. I asked Jayasundara and the president put his hand on his head. When Jayasundara was there, I said, this is how you fill the budget deficit. There is 2 billion right here. I brought the governor of the central bank and showed him. Not a single person at the CBSL pays income taxes. All is paid by the central bank. The ordinary public official is paying it through the government department. It is cut from everyone's wages. When these top institutions in the corporation sector pay it from their revenues, what happens? Their profits are cut by billions. Until it is found out through an audit, Parliament is unaware of this. For 10 years, no one, not even the president, called and asked me about my work. Everything was included in the report. There is deterioration in the public sector. It is everywhere.
Speaking at an event in Manikinna today, General Secretary of the United National Party, Thiss Sattanayake, expressed these views on Minister Vimal Weerawansa's comment on economic assassins.
This has been said by a government minister. He has forgotten who should be held responsible if the authorities at the Ministry of Finance are acting as economic assassins. Minister Vimal Weerawansa is a cabinet minister. Who is the finance minister? If officials within the finance ministry are acting as economic assassins, then why doesn't he discuss it with the president who is in charge of it within the cabinet and then resolve it? What is this drama that he is acting out on stage instead?
ජනාධිපතිවරයාත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරන විසඳ ගන්නවා මිසක්ක මොකද මේ වේදිකාවේ නටන නාටකම්.
The Department of Meteorology says thunder showers can be expected in several parts of the island due to a disturbance in the atmosphere southwest of the island. Meanwhile, the Disaster Management Centre says 103,427 people have been affected by the inclement weather.
Farmland in the Ampara district has been the worst affected by the adverse weather. The Assistant Director of Agriculture in the district said about 9,000 hectares of paddy fields in the district have been damaged by flood waters. The News First crew captured this footage from Akre Pattu, Eragama and Galmadua. Ripe and harvested paddy alike were destroyed by the rains. Our reporter says about 50 acres of farmland in Sungavilla in the Polonnaruwa district have been damaged as a result of the Mahaveli River breaking its banks following the heavy rainfall. The Director of Irrigation in the Polonnaruwa district says all spill gates of the Min area and Kaudula reservoirs have been opened. 1,400 cubic feet of water is being released per second from the spill gates of the Min area reservoir, which have been opened by 7 inches each. 2,600 cubic feet of water is being released from the Kaudula reservoir per second, where the spill gates have been opened by 6 and 9 inches. Meanwhile, the Vaunia Divisional Secretary says that the bunds of 6 reservoirs in the Vaunia district have broken. All minor reservoirs in the district and the 2 major reservoirs, Pavatikulam and Vaunikulam, are overflowing. Maize farmers in Hulangnuge in Ampara are facing severe hardships due to the inability to dry their harvest.
News First launched its citizen journalism initiative News First U Report yesterday. Many individuals across the country have already registered as News First U reporters. Tonight on the news we feature our first U report submitted by Chandana Uduvalla from Hanguranketha. Chandana submitted this footage and the story to News First on the adverse weather condition experienced in his area. Let's take a look.
Following the adverse weather experienced in the Hanguranketha area, spill gates of several reservoirs were opened. However, the weather improved today. If the extreme weather conditions continue in the Hanguranketha area, it will affect the day-to-day lives of the people here.
Mama Chandana Uduvalla, News First U Report.
Now you too can be a News First U reporter by logging on to www.newsfirst.lk U report and submit your content just like Chandana Uduvalla.
In more local news, the Anunayaka of the Sri Lanka Ramanya Mahanikaya, Most Venerable Girambe Ananda Thera, says that the leader of the opposition, remaining silent in the face of pressure exerted on the country and religion, goes to show that he too is part of the current government. The Thera points out that the opposition leader adopted a policy of silence when the country faced burning issues.
නායක හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ පිරිසක් විසින් ඝාතනය කළා.
Recently, a chief incumbent from the Egodoyana area in Panadura, Venerable Matighathanne Thera, was murdered. He had been killed in a barbaric manner. The opposition leader should come forward and speak out against such barbaric acts and the violation of law and order. A monk was killed in a barbaric manner. However, the opposition leader is yet to speak about it. He says he is a Buddhist. However, we do not see any Buddhist sentiments from him. The people are calling for these perpetrators to be brought to book. But the opposition leader nor his followers have said anything about this. We request the government and the judiciary to bring the perpetrators to book and give them the death penalty. At a time when the lawless and unjust country is being pushed towards disaster, it is the responsibility of the opposition leader to create awareness among the public about what is happening. Go before the public and challenge the government. I see the current opposition leader as part of the government. The government provides them with comforts and they in turn protect the government. The time is right to establish a government which protects the democracy of the country. The time is right to chase away this evil government and this opposition and establish a more people-friendly administration.
Radical Prakashanya.
Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that the resettlement of underserved settlements project would relocate 70,000 families living in unauthorized settlements in high-rise residential buildings.
Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa was the keynote speaker at a special function held in the Colombo area today.
The improvement being facilitated in the lives of people in underserved and unauthorized settlements is also noteworthy. These settlements are mostly on government lands in various parts of Colombo, with many of them being located on reservations set aside around lakes, canals, roadways and rail tracks. Under the resettlement of underserved settlements project being undertaken by the Urban Development Authority, some 70,000 families living in poor conditions in Colombo will be given housing in high-rise buildings designed and constructed to a good standard. These buildings will come up in close proximity to the original homes of these families, so that they do not need to find different jobs or send their children to different schools. A key benefit of both the public-private partnerships to regenerate urban spaces and the resettlement of underserved settlements program will be the releasing of a significant amount of prime city land for commercial and other developments.
Newsfest conducted a media workshop with a difference today in a bid to provide school children with the opportunity to gain first-hand experience of how a news bulletin is compiled and telecast.
Students of the media unit of the Ratnavali Mahavidyalaya in Dehiovita, along with their teachers and parents, arrived at the auditorium of the Capital Maharaja organization in Colombo. The staff at News First took measures to provide the students with a sound understanding about news reporting and presenting. When we came to your school, we educated you on communication. We did not tell you how a news item is edited or produced because all of you might not be interested in news. That is why we invited you to News First to get first-hand experience. Attention was also focused on the dynamics of a communication unit and the modern methods used in communication and media. The students were also given an understanding in new media. The students who visited the News First studios also had the opportunity to witness a live news bulletin. Later, News First presented certificates to the students who participated in the media workshop.
A person died in an accident that occurred in Jayala this afternoon when a motorbike collided with a lorry travelling from Minuwangoda to Jayala.
The victim of the accident is 30-year-old B.L. Shantaranil, who was a resident of Jayala. Shantaranil, who sustained injuries when the motorbike he was travelling on collided with a lorry, died upon admission to the Jayala hospital. Shantaranil worked at the Carousel Moulding Company owned by the Capital Maharaja organization. The driver of the lorry has been taken into custody in connection with the incident.